Join me as I dive deep into the things that spark fear in our minds and see if I can face my own fears head-on. Fear is a fundamental human emotion, and it's hard to imagine a person who hasn't experienced it at some point in their life. From the thrill of a roller coaster ride to the terror of a life-threatening situation, fear is an emotion that can evoke a wide range of reactions, and yet it's an essential part of what makes us human. One of the most fascinating aspects of fear is its ability to simultaneously unite and divide us. We all fear something, whether it's public speaking, spiders, or the dark. And yet, our individual fears can be so unique and deeply personal that they often set us apart from one another. So, why do we fear? Is it simply a natural response to a perceived threat? Or is there something more complex at play? Fear is a primitive emotion that has been hardwired into our brains since the dawn of humanity. It's an instinctual response that's designed to protect us from harm, and yet it's also a highly subjective experience that's shaped by our individual experiences, beliefs, and cultural backgrounds. For some, fear can be a crippling force that holds them back from pursuing their dreams, while for others, it can be a motivating factor that drives them to push beyond their limits. As we navigate the complexities of fear, it's easy to get caught up in the emotional turmoil that comes with it. Fear can be overwhelming, debilitating, and even paralyzing. And yet, it's also an emotion that's capable of triggering some of the most profound and transformative experiences of our lives. At its core, fear is a call to action, a warning sign that alerts us to potential dangers and encourages us to take steps to protect ourselves. But fear can also be a deeply irrational emotion, one that's fueled by misconceptions, misbeliefs, and a general lack of understanding. So how do we differentiate between rational and irrational fears? And how do we overcome the latter to live a more fulfilling life? Rational fears are those that are based on a realistic assessment of a potential threat. For example, fearing a snake in the wild is a rational fear because snakes can be deadly. On the other hand, irrational fears, or phobias, are those that are disproportionate to the actual danger posed. For instance, fearing all snakes, including harmless ones, is an irrational fear. While rational fears can be useful in keeping us safe, irrational fears can be debilitating and interfere with our daily lives. Irrational fears can manifest in different ways, from social anxiety to claustrophobia, and they can have a profound impact on our relationships, careers, and overall well-being. But what's fascinating is that irrational fears can often be traced back to our childhood experiences, cultural norms, and social conditioning. For example, a person who grew up in a culture that emphasizes the dangers of snakes may develop an irrational fear of them, even if they're not a realistic threat in their environment. The good news is that our brains are capable of rewiring and adapting to new information, which means that we can overcome irrational fears with the right mindset and strategies. By identifying the root causes of our fears, challenging our negative beliefs, and gradually exposing ourselves to the things that scare us, we can learn to manage our fears and live a more courageous life. Fear is often seen as a negative emotion, something that holds us back from pursuing our dreams and living a fulfilling life. But what if I told you that fear has an evolutionary purpose? What if fear is not just a primal response to a perceived threat, but an essential component of our survival? Fear has played a crucial role in human evolution, driving us to adapt, innovate, and thrive in the face of adversity. It's the reason why our ancestors developed tools, formed communities, and created social hierarchies. Fear is what motivated us to explore, discover, and push beyond our limits, and it's what continues to drive us today. In many ways, fear is the spark that ignites our creativity, innovation, and progress. It's the reason why we strive to be better, to improve ourselves, and to leave a lasting impact on the world. Without fear, we'd stagnate, and our species would cease to evolve. Fear is not just a negative emotion, it's a fundamental aspect of the human experience. It's what makes us human, and it's what makes life worth living. Fear often manifests as a heightened state of mental and physical tension. Yoga and mindfulness offer powerful tools to address these reactions, fostering calmness, awareness, and resilience. Yoga combines breath control, movement, and meditation to release pent-up energy and anxiety that fuel fear. Mindfulness, on the other hand, encourages present-moment awareness, helping you observe fearful thoughts without judgment and reducing their grip on your mind. Through yoga, you can train your body to relax even in stressful situations. Specific practices like deep breathing, pranayama, and grounding poses like child's pose or mountain pose can signal to the brain that it's safe, reducing the fight or flight response. This practice not only diminishes immediate fear, but also strengthens your overall ability to handle fear in the future. Mindfulness meditation allows you to acknowledge and confront fears without reacting impulsively. By becoming a non-judgmental observer of your thoughts and emotions, you gain clarity about the root of your fears and the ability to differentiate between rational and irrational fears. For example, a person afraid of public speaking might use mindfulness to focus on their breathing and sensations rather than the overwhelming thoughts of failure. This shift can significantly reduce anxiety. Journaling is another effective way to overcome fear by providing a safe space to explore and process your emotions. Writing about your fears allows you to clarify their triggers and understand their underlying causes. This reflective practice turns abstract fears into concrete words, making them feel less overwhelming. For example, someone afraid of career failure might journal about their thoughts, gradually uncovering that their fear stems from a lack of confidence or past criticism. Once identified, they can actively challenge these beliefs and set realistic goals to build self-esteem. Journaling also encourages gratitude and positive affirmations. By focusing on your strengths and accomplishments, you can shift your mindset from fear to empowerment, building the confidence to face challenges head-on. Consider Sarah, who had an intense fear of heights. She began practicing yoga, focusing on poses that foster balance and stability, like tree pose, while incorporating mindfulness meditation to stay present during fearful moments. Alongside these practices, Sarah kept a journal where she wrote about her experiences, acknowledging her fear and celebrating small victories, like standing on a high balcony for a few moments. Over time, these combined strategies helped Sarah retrain her mind and body to respond calmly to heights. She eventually managed to hike up a mountain and take in the view, transforming her fear into a sense of achievement. In conclusion, fear is a complex and multifaceted emotion that plays a crucial role in our lives. It's an emotion that can unite and divide us, motivate and cripple us, and drive us to achieve great things. By understanding the different types of fears, overcoming irrational fears, and embracing the evolutionary purpose of fear, we can learn to live a more courageous, fulfilling, and meaningful life. So what are you afraid of? Share your fears with me in the comments below, and if you're ready to face your fears head-on, be sure to check out my video on overcoming fear.